Good afternoon. This is Banshee here at Boston Roller Derby, just testing things out on the Twitch stream before we get the party started. I cannot hear you, Q.
Salut, comment allez-vous?
Oui. Je comprends. I don't speak French at all, but I know a few tiny phrases.
And for those of you who are joining in to see this a little earlier, just to let you know, we do have Montreal coming up. The new skids on the block going to be facing off against Boston Roller Derby. Boston Roller Derby will be wearing black, new skids in their white and pink uniform. And to get things off, I'll start announcing the roster for Montreal Roller Derby. Starting off with 008, Lowrider. 03, Cam Grayson. 1017, Bigley Smalls. 103, MX Merrick. Number 13, Traz. Number 16, Booby Puncher. Number 289, Cheese Grater. Number 4546, Diversity Hire. Number 48, Mercury. Number 658, Surge. Number 66, Falcon Punch. Number 87, Motley Crude. Number 913, Blue Butt. Number 999, Katie Kaboom. 9999, Mange Melacour. And they are coached this afternoon by Arkham Fury and Tabernacle and Mayday JJ.
And you may catch some of the excited fans here in the stands at Allied Veterans Memorial Rink here in Everett, Massachusetts. As Q mentioned, we have Boston in black. Their roster for Boston Roller Derby A team is 013 Monsoon, 100 Downer, 120 Electrocute, 1230 Sparky, 183 Felix Block, 2 MC Slammer, 21 Malice, 25 Rainbow Crash, 30 DVS Harm Assist, 337 Agenda, 4 Mare, 709 Vertigo Fast, 749 Wednesday Adams, 896 Wreck, and 999 Lammy Adder.
And I'll get to the officials here, the non-skating officials. We have Bang Test, Emma, Eben Woe, Opie, Kung Fu Manda, Sheriff, Officially Mel, WEB Destroys, Kyle Crocodile, and India.
And then, of course, we have strong female character, Reverend Riot, Category, Decrypt Keeper, Epi Penalty, Toxic Narcotic, and Bruce Lee as our skating officials.
And we have started the action here. We had Falcon Punch and Mare out as the original jammers. There was a successful star pass to Wednesday Adams. Jam has come to a conclusion. It looks like the skids are going to walk away with 4 points, Boston with 1.
Glad to see some folks pouring in today, but we are glad to also have our friends with us on the Twitch stream, and we are monitoring the chat, so if you would like to say hello or ask any questions, feel free to shout us out. Okay, Lammy Adder with the star for Boston, and if you are just joining us, Boston's in black. We have 48, which is Mercury in white for the new skids. Okay, seeing Boston take the top of the pack. Lammy round the outside, turn 1, picking up lead quickly. We do see the star come off of Mercury's head just to get out of the pack. And an apex jump in turn 1 from Lammy, running it 4 points. Right now in the front stretch, we have Mercury in scoring position. And at the back of the pack, about halfway between pivot and jammer lines, we have Lammy fighting it out, getting taken to the outside in turn 1, cycled back to pivot line territory Felix Block with the run back with the full line and toe on Mercury behind that pivot line. And seeing Lammy push it out up front, currently in the turn 1 apex, but getting pushed back just the same as Mercury behind the pivot line. Pack keeping it nice and close. And we do see Mercury out with 4 points. So right now we have 8-5 in favor of the Skids. Oh no, it is 9-8 in favor of Boston, so a quick lead change, which I have a feeling, Q, we're going to see a lot of.
Oh, more than likely, these two teams have faced off against each other quite often, and it's always close.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like we have 0-3 Monsoon coming up to the line for Boston.
Yes, if you are hearing what sounds like a boo in the background, it is actually swooning.
But it is number 103, MX Merrick for Montreal, taking lead jammer position. Engaging with the pack just after the jammer line, getting pushed to the inside. Monsoon took the star off just to get through the pack. Put it back on, jam it's held off. Looks like 2 points going to be put up on the board for the Skids. 11-9, 26 minutes left in the half.
Quick shout out to 187 Killer Pads. They continue to lead the way in raising industry standards, making protective gear better. Thank them for their sponsorship. Okay, we've got Pills, aka DVS Harm Assist, jamming for Boston up against Diversity Hire. So Montreal's Diversity Hire currently in the middle of the pack, right behind Pills, both fighting their respective defense. And right now, Diversity Hire pushing into turn 2. We do see the new Skids lose one blocker to the box. Pills is through with, not with lead. It appears lead going to Diversity Hire after a forearm penalty assessed to Pills. So power jam opportunity in favor of Montreal. Now in the back stretch is where our pack is wreaking havoc up against Diversity Hire, although getting plenty of help from the new Skids defense and offense. Forgive me, I need more caffeine. Meanwhile, while you're sitting there sipping the soda, I'm going, oh, I need a Diet Coke. Give me a fridge cigarette, right? Okay, currently in that midway between turns 3 and 4, that was a hit from MMC Slammer, the pivot on Boston, to Diversity Hire. Pills is back to the track, fighting up against a twosome of 289, which is Cheese Grater, along with Lowrider. But Pills is through. Now eligible to score, but I don't believe... Oh, no. Pills picks up 1 point. 4-1 on that jam in favor of Montreal. Oh, no. Make it 8-1. Got to wait a minute on that scoreboard. So 19-10 in favor of Montreal. Proving to be exactly as fun a game as we anticipated.
Absolutely. We're seeing number 709, Vertigo Fast, come up for Boston. Facing off against number 87, Motley Crude for Montreal. Motley Crude working in the middle of the pack. That scrum just pushing right back against. One block of the beat up front now. That was Sparky pushing the outside. And yes, did force a track cut. So Vertigo Fast is going to have a power jam opportunity for Boston now.
Vert is Vert is a recent addition to the Boston A team. I believe Vert's first game getting called up to A was at the altitude adjuster in Denver a few weeks back, and she had a stellar performance. So it's great to see Vert getting out there and yielding some positive results for Boston.
Oh, absolutely. And working their way laterally is catching a bunch of these Montreal defenders off guard. Now being stuck basically at the jammer line. Good quick little recycle back. Motley Crew has completed their time in the penalty box. Had worked their way to the pivot line, then getting recycled back. They are through on their initial pass. And Boston deciding to call that off after getting 4 quick points. 19-16 now. Able to hold the Skids to 0 on that jam. About 21 and a half minutes in the game. Half.
Seeing some support for Vertigo Fast in the Twitch chat. Shout out to Satan's Diva Cup. That is a great name. We appreciate you tuning in. All right. On that jammer line for Montreal, we've got Mercury pushing all the way up and out of the pack, just past the pivot line, securing lead. In the meantime, Lamiatter still in the pack, working to gain eligibility and get into scoring position. Mercury wasting no time. 4 points for Montreal. Right now in the front stretch, that is Traz and Lowrider really putting in the work to burn the clock on Lamiatter. Not an easy task, I might add. But Lammy is in scoring position right now. We do see the forced call-off. Just checking to see. That is 0 for Lammy. I believe 8. Oh, no, a few more. How much time do we have left there on the period clock? I can't quite see it.
20 minutes, 17 seconds.
Thank you, Q. There was one of our NSO friends, because of the positioning of the penalty box, right in the path. Not their fault.
And I'll tell you, Montreal's timing on that call-off was absolutely perfect because they were not only able to get those points, they cleared the entire penalty box because they had 2 skaters in there for most of the jam.
Well, it's something that not enough folks think about. I think the teams themselves do think about this. Perhaps on a fan perspective, I don't know, you tell me, but clock management, it's incredibly important. It's not just for the fact of, oh, we want to shut down the other jammer or wear them out. No, you need to make sure that you have as full a staff on the track to help you in the pack, because if 3 out of 4 of your blockers are in the box, who's going to play O for you?
Yep.
Maybe that one person who's out on the track, but again, as one person, you can't do all of the things. You can try and probably be completely exhausted and then perhaps render yourself a little less useful. So very smart for Montreal.
And coming back, we have Falcon Punch out for the Skids, facing off against Devious Armistice, Bills. Bills stuck in the back of the pack, and his Falcon Punch right up front. Lead jammer status going to the new Skids. Bills now working their way up towards the pivot line, getting some help from MC Slayer, however, getting recycled back now.
We've got recycling galore. We just had Sparky and co running back the Montreal jammer while that was also happening to Pills.
Both defensive squads are doing an outstanding job of recycling the jammers, especially early on in the jam right now. It seems like after about a half minute or so, things kind of work themselves out, as we see here.
Well, the great thing is we still have plenty of play time to go, and one never knows what might happen.
Yep.
You know, they may surprise us.
Oh, absolutely.
And that means everyone.
Right now, working right up front against Sparky and Wednesday Adams. Falcon Punch. Oh, squeaked to the inside. Penalty is called on Wednesday, so Falcon Punch able to break through. 4 more points on the board, bringing them up to 38.
Oh,
Bills with
okay.
the star off and a recycle, but then just Montreal deciding to call that off, not going to play that game.
Every once in a while, you got to perhaps attempt to eat the baby. But, it doesn't always work in the way you hope. But at least the jam got called. All right, setting on up for our next jam. I believe we are heading into Jam 8. We've got Mayor wearing the star for Boston. And let's see here. Our Montreal jammer, 4-5, 4-6. That would be Diversity Higher back at it, pushing it out against Felix Block and MC Slammer, securing lead early on. Currently pushing things out into turn 2. Felix Block having taken the star pass. Diversity Higher gets wise to Felix Block, getting in scoring position, calls off the jam with a quick 4. So 42-16 in favor of Montreal. We have a little under 18 minutes remaining in gameplay for period 1.
Hitting the pavement in 1996 with their first helmet, AAA has shattered the competition in developing roller derby-specific products. Led by our Director of Global Roller Sports, a roller derby veteran with 15 years' experience, our derby division is built by skaters for skaters. After all, we're not only making the products, we're using them too. That's 888.
Okay, Monsoon wearing the star for Boston. And for Montreal, we have a 103 MX Merrick. MX Merrick does pick up a forearm penalty. So they are off to the penalty box, leaving Monsoon with a power jam, the recycle there back behind the jammer line, courtesy of Montreal. But Swoon hits her way out of it, only to meet 2 more blockers from Montreal in turn 1. But after that hard work, Swoon is through, lead to her credit. So Boston in scoring position. We see MX Merrick standing in the penalty box, but right now, right around the pivot line area, we see a quick whip from Swoon just to stay in position from Sparky. And Swoon still caught up in turn 1. Sparky going in for the O. That tripod of Montreal blockers doing their darndest to hold back Monsoon. And it's working for the time being. Swoon able to push it out. Picks up a hard-earned 4 points. And right now, MX Merrick in the pack, pushing it out into the backstretch halfway through, taking Malice all the way out to the edge of the engagement zone. So right now, MX Merrick in scoring position. Swoon picks up 4. He's going to keep running it. Okay, it appears another penalty is called. That was on a Boston blocker, so we lose Rec to the penalty box. In the back stretch, Swoon is through, picks up 4 points, calls it off. Before MX Merrick pick up any more, so only 4 for Montreal on that run. 12-4 on that last jam, taking Boston to 28. Montreal, new skids on the block, sit at 46.
You got number 999, Lammy Adder, coming back up the line for Boston. We'll be facing off against number 87, Motley Crude.
I do love that name.
Cheese Grater doing an outstanding job of trying to clear the lane for Crude. Wednesday Adam. Oh, that is Electrocute working in the putt position. Good rotation. Up front, Boston doing an outstanding job of rotating that tripod, making sure Crude is unable to get through.
Yes, that is a tripod that any jammer would probably not like very much. Because Slammer plus Volt plus Agenda, that's a lot. But guess what? Lead still picked up by Motley Crude, so it was not enough to deter. because Jammers want points and they want to chomp them all up. And 4 points, Motley Crue does pick up.
Coming around turn number 3 again, re-engaging with the pack. Run straight into a wall of black. However, outside lane is open. Skid's continuing to increase his differential. Now sitting at 54.
Pack covering in turn 2. Lammy's still fighting.
Montreal is doing an outstanding job of owning this jam, it seems. Right now, it just looks like every Montreal player has almost a one-on-one with Montreal.
And Montreal continuing the recycling of Lammy Adder back to the mid-back stretch, while the pack is right at the edge of turn 3. And we are seeing some recycling coming from Boston.
And a last second penalty on number 2, MC Slammer. So Boston will be down a pivot this jam. Start of.
That was an 18-0 jam in favor of Montreal. They sit at 64 to Boston's 28. Okay, your jammers for this current jam. We've got Falcon Punch for Montreal up against Mayor from Boston A-Team. And right now, seeing the jammers really have to work the lines. Malice doing her best to contain Falcon Punch, but Falcon Punch is your lead jammer. Meanwhile, the pack extending to the midpoint between turns 1 and 2. Mayor fighting it out against a really incredible tripod from Montreal, but Mayor is through now in scoring position. Falcon Punch working through the pack, calling things off. Now let's see. We had a few Montreal blockers hit the floor there as Mayor started to hit her way through the pack. We'll get you the point tally to see if there are any, which I believe there are. It's just going to take a moment to catch up.
And I'll tell you, talking about tripods you don't want to be in, Katie Kaboom, Mange Malacroix, and who was it? Bigley Smalls.
Yes, ouch.
Another.
All of the ouch.
Yes.
So that yielded one single point for Montreal, 65 to 28. And while we have a moment, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Bender Hatch Insurance. They're a 100-plus year family-owned insurance agency in downtown Boston, serving the greater Boston community. They know insurance isn't one-size-fits-all and strive to meet the individual needs of their customers with dedicated one-on-one support. Contact Bender Hatch for your home, auto, renter, life, and business insurance needs. Local here to Boston, Bender Hatch Insurance. Okay, it appears that we have an official timeout in progress, so just waiting for an update to see if there is a review occurring or anything else. But while we wait, we'd like to thank 888 hitting the pavement in 1996 with their first helmet. 888 shattered the competition in developing roller derby specific products. Led by their global director of roller sports, a roller derby veteran with 15 years of experience, their derby division is built by skaters for skaters. After all, we're not only making the products, we're using them too. 888. Also, Danger Law LLC offers inspired legal planning for the unexpected, covering polyamory law, estate planning, prenuptial and co-ownership agreements, second parent adoptions, name changes, and trustee and fiduciary services. We proudly support, advocate, and represent the LGBTQIA plus community. Thanks again to Danger Law. Ooh, it appears there's a power start happening.
Both Boston Jammer and Pivot are in the penalty box right now. So whatever the official review was, it looks like Montreal's success in that. So they will retain their challenge.
Diversity higher, securing lead. Pack hovering right in front of the pivot line, expanding into turn 1. And Diversity higher is through with 4. Pack regrouping right around that pivot line again. They're loving that spot. And seeing Boston's defense in the front. The tripod working to contain Diversity higher, but some great working there from a cheese grater, hoping to shred the opposition. Though we do see Diversity higher having to work and whittle the blockers down one by one. Diversity higher is through, picking up 4 points. And we have had a star pass on Boston to the pivot, Wednesday Adams. Adams jamming, always a favorite. Though, always shut down before any points can be accrued. So a 9-0 jam in favor of Montreal. They sit at 74, Boston 29. Just over 10 minutes remain in the first period. And Q, I'm sorry.
Huh.
You had something.
Not at all.
Okay.
Coming back up to the line, we have number 709, Vertigo Fast, going to be facing off against 103, MX Merrick. MX Merrick working inside, now working on the out. One blocker to beat. That was number 100, Debbie Downer, able to do so, picking up lead jammer status. Vertigo Fast right behind, however. Re-engaging with the pack at the top apex, and jam getting called off. Looks like it was, Montreal able to get 2 points out of that, holding Boston to 0, 76-29, 9.5 minutes remaining in the half. Quick second to talk about Brews Boutique. If you're watching this roller derby game, first of all, if you're on Twitch, you probably already play. However, if you're watching through a watch party and you don't yet already do it and say you want to, Brews Boutique is ready to provide you with everything you need to get started. They can outfit you from head to toe with their Derby discount starter packages located in nearby Nashua, New Hampshire.
Okay, your jammers for Montreal, we've got Mercury. For Boston, it's Pills. Pills is your lead jammer, but both jammers in scoring position. Pills on her way through the pack, picking up 4. Currently in the pack and picking up a few. Mercury is through. Pack is currently in the back stretch, a little bit before the halfway point, and Pills through with 4. Mercury working on through. Does come out with 4 points. There was such a dramatic flourish from the crypt keeper there on those 4. I appreciate that. Just had to shout that out.
I was actually just watching Felix block out there in the last couple.
Yes.
It is amazing the lane that they can clear just by standing.
As someone who's been on the receiving end of Felix's clearing skills, it's insane. It is a pleasure, but also sometimes it hurts.
Oh, I can.
But so incredibly precise. Yeah. Felix is a jammer assassin for sure. But 84-41 in favor of Montreal on that last jam. But Swoon through with lead pretty quickly up against number 87. That would be Motley Crude. Crude is now through. Both jammers in scoring position. Pack in the front stretch right around that pivot line. Swoon working it out. Able to get through. Past the last blocker for Montreal, 4 points, and Crude in the pack in turn 1, going toward the inside but does not get bumped out, able to use that momentum and lean into it, though being held at the moment, and Swoon being taken to the outside, recycled by none other than Mange-Moi El Coup. And Swoon coming back at it. Up. Monch & Co. That would be Blue Butt at the back there for the recycling. And the pack extending not only from that mid-front stretch, but all the way into turn 2 as Spocky and Wreck attempt to hold Crude, but not enough. Crude picks up 4. Swoon calls it before additional points go up for Crude. Okay. So very hard fought for both teams, but really that, and it's the same tripod you referenced earlier, and with KT Kaboom as well as Mange, and that was not fun for Swoon,
No.
although perhaps fun at first, but then when you're cycled back over and over, and that happens to many jammers. But 88-49 at end of last jam.
So Vertigo Fast is out, and lead jammer for Boston. MX Mac, however, is right on their heels. Ran straight into a Boston wall, however. So got slowed down, didn't slow down much. Found the inside lane open. Both jammers in scoring position. Vertigo Fast deciding to call that off. We'll see if any points are hidden in the pocket.
Hit so hard the hat got knocked off.
And it looks like a forearm penalty was assessed at the end of that jam. Seeing who it was.
An official review being called by Boston.
And that may have to deal with that penalty that was called. We're discussing it now.
Indeed.
Are you hungry for the best cookie you've ever had? Head to Top Shelf Cookies vendor table. Nope, can't do that. However, Top Shelf is Boston's craft cookie company. They make freshly baked cookies with shipping, pickup, and delivery options for your convenience. Visit their website or their store blocks away from Ashmont Tea for all your cookie needs.
And that website is topshelfcookies.com. And Q and I, and this is not just because they are a sponsor, Q and I for years now have been customers of Top Shelf Cookies because of Heather, their owner, bringing Top Shelf Cookies and representing them, having a vendor table at most Boston games. They're not here in the house today, so that's sad trombone for us. But those cookies are fantastic. The flavor varieties are incredible. So if you have a hankering for something sweet, definitely worth visiting topshelfcookies.com.
Honestly, I've never had a bad cookie from Top Shelf Cookies.
It's true. They have a What's Up Doc right now that
Yes.
because at the last game we both bought some. And our friend, fellow announcer, Irate Pirate, shout out Irate, from New Hampshire, had come down to announce. And I shared one with her. She was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I was like, yes, you need this in your life.
And for those of you who are wondering, the What's Up Doc is a carrot cake cookie.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
I will keep it family friendly, but it's freaking delicious. Anywho, we like the sweets.
It happens. I think everybody does.
Yeah.
Ooh,
And if you don't, hey, enjoy whatever snack you prefer.
it looks like the forearm penalty was assessed, as Vertigo Fast is now sitting in the penalty box. So we'll see number 66 Falcon Punch with a power jam opportunity. And again, we are going into jam number 17, New Skids 92, Boston 53, 5 minutes left in the half.
So seeing how Montreal lined up, they had two blockers at the jammer line, two up at the pivot line in the mix of the Boston blockers. Lead, of course, at this point going to Falcon Punch. And Falcon Punch in scoring position, working up against the Boston tripod. And right after the tripod tried to cycle Falcon Punch to the inside, but Emily Nolan blocked Falcon Punch from getting out. That actually cycled Falcon Punch back a bit, and Vert is now back on the track. Not a full penalty kill, as Falcon Punch did exit the pack and just picked up 4 points. We see the star pass from Vert to Adams. Falcon Punch going in for an additional scoring trip, while the pack accelerates, and the backstretch is now in turn 3. The jam is called. Let's see. Any Boston points? 1. Adams scored on that star pass. So 10-1 on the jam in favor of Montreal. 102-54. Just over 4 minutes remaining in period 1 as we head into Jam 18.
With number 999, Lammy Adder, coming back up the line for Boston. Can't quite see the number for Montreal just yet.
Believe that might be Diversity Higher. 4546.
Yes, it is. Diversity High.
Yes.
Picking up lead jammer says for Montreal. Lammy Adder continue to work against the pack at the pivot line. Good hit there by number 008, the low rider. Keeping Lammy right at the pivot line. Getting some help there by MC Slammer now. And that's enough as Lammy finds the outside open. That is the initial pass. And the jam getting called off. Looks like 2 points going to be put up on the board for the New Skids, holding Boston to 0. I'd almost call that a very successful jam for Boston's defense right there. Holding the Skids
I would have to agree.
Is very impressive.
You know, I always find the adaptation in the first period of a game to be very interesting because everyone's trying a little something different out. And if you haven't played a particular team in a while, you know, sometimes their initial strategies may change up, and then seeing how things start falling into place, it's really a cool process. But right now, that process taking Adams to the penalty box, and it looks like our Montreal jammer, that would be Mercury, had a cut track penalty assessed. So Pills is lead jammer. The pack heading into the backstretch right at the top of it. Okay, and we are seeing a little bit of O coming from Sparky. See Pills pushing it out. Able to get around on 1 foot, no less. Not quite out, though, because Montreal's defense was there with the quickness, able to cycle Pills out. And, oh, hey, Mercury is back on the track. But Pills not afraid to get a little pushy there, and does so, picks up 4. Adams working to get Mange out of the way.
Pushed out there by number 03, Cam Grayson.
And Emily Nolan up against Montreal's jammer there, Mercury. Mercury had the star off, but is now in scoring position, has the star on the helmet. Looks like a total of 6 points for Boston. And none for Montreal on that jam. I do believe that's probably the first jam I've seen Montreal held scoreless, at least in 10 jams, because Montreal has been adding up. But we do see Boston at 60, New Skids on the block at 104, and we've got a little over, nope, just under
a minute left in the half.
A minute here.
Swoon is out for Boston, facing off against Motley Crude. Swoon had worked their way up to the front towards the pivot line, then getting recycled back. Crude now working up front against a wall. Looks like Electrocute. MC Slammer in there as well as Agenda.
Yes.
Thank you. Was unable to see the number.
Okay, seeing Swoon cycle back into turn 2, and mid-back stretch lead is declared. That would be Crude, but Swoon running on up on Crude. So we're going to see what happens here. The pack fast accelerating, has reached the jammer line area. Jam is called 0-0. So Swoon successfully forced the call off. A very exciting way to end the first period of the first game here at RollChambeau. Our very first event called RollChambeau here at Boston Roller Derby in 2026. So it's lovely to have you. We'll be back in about 12 minutes or so. Also just want to thank everyone who is watching on Twitch. I see a few folks, Ting Ting XX, Girls Rock, Grenade Jane, and a small boy TM cheering on Montreal skaters Crude, Falcon, and Diversity Higher. We appreciate all of you joining us, and we'll be back shortly.
And just before I leave you, I'm going to leave you with 3 more sponsor reads. We have Take It Slow Massage. Bodies are awesome, but sometimes you need a helping hand. Enjoy therapeutic massage tailored to you at Take It Slow Massage, located at 79 Trapillo in Belmont. We're also sponsored by Fox Pest Control, the trusted name for residential pest control in the Boston area. We take pride in providing high-quality service and have helped thousands of customers rid their properties of pests. Call us today for free inspection and same-day service at Fox Pest Co. Also sponsored by Atrium School, a vibrant, independent pre-K through grade 8 school in Waterton, Mass., fostering academic excellence with a deep founding commitment to equality, equity, inclusion, the arts, and justice. Atrium's balanced hands-on education nurtures academic, social, emotional, and artistic growth while inspiring curiosity and creativity under the guidance of an innovative and caring team of educators. Since 1982, Atrium has embodied its motto of excellence with joy, atrium.org. We'd like to thank you again to all the sponsors of Boston Roller Derby, and once again, we'll be back in about 5 minutes now for RollChambeau. just in case the voice is working and the video is not, we have begun the second half of Derby action here. Number 4, Mare is out for Boston, facing off against Diversity Higher. Currently, there is 8 points for Boston as Mare has made it through their first scoring pass. About to re-engage with the pack at the pivot line on their third. Good recycle back. As Diversity Higher now working at the back of the pack. Nice tripod there. MC Slammer with some offense trying to help Mare through on their third scoring pass now. Diversity Higher working at the front of the pack. Nice 2-wall there, currently braced by Electrocute. And Jam getting called off. Looks like 4 more points going to be put up on the board for Boston. Skids able to get 4 for themselves as well. Starting off this second half as a 12-4 Jam in favor of Boston. Current score, Skids 108, Boston 72. 28 minutes left in the half. Game.
Off to a good start. All right, so it appears we have a full complement of blockers and both jammers, so that's great for both teams. Lammy Adder wearing the star for Boston up against Falcon Punch. Falcon Punch through with lead. And seeing Lammy caught up in the pack, which is still right behind the pivot line. Seeing Monge take the knock to Lammy to the outside, but Lammy cycled back in. And now working up against the Montreal tripod while Falcon Punch picks up 4 and is coming around on another scoring pass. Seeing the strong defense from Boston, seeing Rec and Adams manage to slow Falcon Punch, who is cycled inward on the turn 1 apex. Does get caught up on Nolan, but back at it, picking up 4 more. And right now, the pack right around the jammer line. See the star pass from Lammy to Adams. Rec and Nolan and Lammy able to take Falcon Punch to the outside in turn 1. The jam is called. No points for Boston on that jam, but 12 for the Skids. They sit at 120, Boston 72, and we are about 3.5 minutes into period 2.
Now, I might be reading something into this, but I am pretty sure the Skids really respect Adams, because every time Adams has the star, almost immediately they end up calling off the jam. They do not want Adams with the jam at all. Meanwhile, we have Vertigo Fast out on the line for Boston, facing off against, looks like Motley Crude up front for the Skids. Good brace there by Electrocute, not letting Crude through. Trying to get some offensive help there by Cheese Grater. Thought they forced a recycle, but did not. Motley Crude able to get through, picks up lead jammers for the Skids. Meanwhile, Vertigo Fast getting recycled back to the jammer line. Good brace there by number 658. That was Surge. Boston now coming back to give some offensive help. Pack now moving backwards.
Yeah, it was a beautiful recycle courtesy of Montreal.
My apologies. Anti-clockwise.
Now we do see Vert getting caught up in that midpoint between turns 3 and 4, fighting all hands on deck for the Montreal defense. Now at the back of the pack, Boston able to detain Diversity Higher. Oh, I'm sorry, not Diversity Higher. That's Crude out there. Yeah. So Crude up against the Boston tripod. That is Felix Block along with Volt. And let's see, I believe also Agenda. But we do see the star pass to MC Slammer, though no points acquired by Boston 4 for the Skids. So they sit at 124-72. About 6 minutes in. And seeing our jammers line up for Jam 4 of period 2. It's Monsoon for Boston and MX Rick for Montreal. And if you are just joining us here on Twitch, we have Montreal in white, Boston in black. And shout out to Vermont Top Turner, who said, "What fun, my first roller derby ever. We hope you enjoy this high quality roller derby broadcast." And both of these teams are in the Women's Flat Track Derby Association. Oh, and we do see Sparky going for the recycle on MX Rick. But the jam is called. But a nice high five there to be like, hey, respect. So scoreless jam, 124-72, still with Montreal on top. Oh, no, not a scoreless jam. 1-0 jam in favor of Montreal. So all is not lost on that one. 125-72.
Number 48, Mercury, coming up the line for the Skids. Facing off against Pills, the devious arm assist. Pills working against the front of the pack now. Number 13 moved into a butt position. That is Traz, but unable to keep Pills back. Finding the outside lane, picking up lead jammer status.
Yes, some nice O provided by Agenda.
Mercury pushing their way through at the front of the pack as well. So both jammers through on their initial. Devious now in the front of the pack. Beautiful apex hop there by Mercury. 4 points up on the board for the Skids. Pills working against the front of the pack, however getting pushed to the inside and recycled. Mercury through on their second scoring pass there. Good job by the Skids right up front. I believe that is 13 Traz.
Apex jump attempted, but resulted in a recycle. So Slammer, Volt, and Felix Block working on Mercury in turn 3.
Bill's able to finally get past that 2-wall. Re-engaging with the pack at turn number 4.
Bill's going around the outside, able to call it off after picking up 4. So 8-8 on this. Oh no, it is 11-8 on the jam in favor of the new Skids. They sit at 136, Boston 80.
Looks like Falcon Punch and Vertigo Fast coming up to line for their respective teams. But an official timeout being called.
And if you're enjoying this game, might I recommend the additional games coming up here at RollChambeau. So we have a 7 p.m. game, and it is Eastern Standard Time, because that's the time we're on here in the Boston area. The game later on today will be Gotham up against Montreal. So we will see Montreal take the track twice today, and then Boston will play tomorrow. And I'll give you that schedule later on today. And in between our 2 games, there will also be a juniors exhibition from Northeast Uprising Junior Roller Derby. They are one of the 2 local junior roller derby teams here in Massachusetts.
And I did forget to update people on the penalties over halftime. Found out the Skids went into halftime with 12 total penalties. Boston. Did we draw?
Okay,
test,
let's give this a shot.
Okay, so
yeah,
Boston had 15 total penalties in that first half. Nobody in penalty trouble, meaning nobody over 3. The Skids had 12 total penalties. 1 skater had 4, and that was number 1017, Bigley Smalls. But other than that, nobody in real penalty trouble going into this second half, so a nice clean game. Not sure what the official review was. However, it looks like Falcon Punch is starting in the penalty box. Or I'm sorry, Mercury is starting in the penalty box, the jammer from last jam. Vertigo Fast, the jammer on record for Boston out there, now working against the front of the pack.
Malice to the penalty box for Boston.
Sparky trying to clear that lane. Skid's doing an outstanding job of just blobbing it around. And Vertigo Fast finally able to break through. Picks up lead jammer status. And Mercury now out of the penalty box as well. Big shoulder by Sparky. Mercury is through. That is their initial pass. And Vertigo Fast on their scoring. 4 points. Good recycle to the inside by Sparky. And then immediately reforming in the defense. Outstanding job by Boston. Right at the back straightaway there. Just holding Mercury up between turns 2 and 3. Direction of play getting called.
Yes.
So Vertigo Fast now getting a little bit of forward momentum and nope. Right into the back of another skid.
Yes, the backstretch is the place to be for everyone at the moment, coming right up on the edge of turn 3.
Skids were able to reform the defense just on that last jam, or that last pass. Really held everything up. Looks like waiting to see if any additional points, but it looks like a 4-12 jam in favor of Boston. 140-92 now. 19 minutes left in the game.
And something that's kind of been the constant, at least as far as the score, we've seen a differential of roughly 50 points almost consistently, I think probably since halfway through period 1, with Montreal on the uphanded end of that, on the upper end of that. So right now, 140-92, just under 50 points. So let's see. We have Diversity Hire wearing the star for Montreal and Mayor for Boston. Lead going to Mayor. This is Mayor's first lead in the game. And right now the pack lined up all around the pivot line right before turn 1. Mayor is through, is running it. So after the 4 points, Diversity Hire picks up perhaps 4. We'll see in a moment. Yes, 4 for Diversity Hire as well. Mayor on a scoring pass, but slides into turn 1. So Mayor receives a low block penalty. So power jam in favor of Montreal. Felix Block with the recycle on Diversity Hire. And right now the Boston Tripod hoping to contain and cap Diversity Hire in turn 1. We have MC Slammer out there with Volt, Agenda, and Felix Block. We have a forearm penalty assessed to the pivot. That is Dr. Slammer off to the box. And Diversity Hire on an additional scoring pass, but body's hitting the floor, not in too dramatic fashion. It was kind of a weird slow-mo pile. But pack extending into turn 2 no less, whittling down the Boston blockers. And at the back of the pack, there is back. Does get recycled by Grayson. And seeing Diversity Hire just having some fun, taking some laps. Volt to the penalty box. So right now it is a 4-2 pack advantage for Montreal. And seeing Mayor stuck in the back of the pack, working to get around the Montreal tripod, but the jam reaches its conclusion. Big jam for Montreal and lots of action, as to be expected. I mean, we've had this as the treat the entire game thus far, but 8-8, according to the scoreboard right now, Oh, no, and just as suspected, I spoke too soon. That is my lot in life as an announcer. So 11-8 in favor of Montreal. They sit at 151. Boston at 100. Again, that 50-point-ish differential, that's been maintained throughout. We'll see if that changes up. And right now, we have, from what I can tell,
an official review.
Yes, it is an official review. I was just looking for the time. So we're about 13 minutes, 20 seconds in to period 2.
187 Killer Pads, the first protective gear company to create pads specifically for roller derby. 187 Killer Pads has become the preferred choice of skaters worldwide. With its visionary designs and revolutionary systems, 187 Killer Pads continues to lead the way in raising industry standards and making protective gear better. 187 Killer Pads. We're also sponsored by 888. Hitting the pavement in 1996 with their first helmet, 888 has shattered the competition in developing roller derby-specific products. Led by our Director of Global Roller Sports, a roller derby veteran with 15 years of experience, our derby division is built by skaters for skaters. After all, we're not only making the products, we're using them too. 888.
Yes, and shout out to our streaming crew this weekend. At the helm, we have Smash working on things behind the scenes here.
Donka donka.
We sincerely appreciate you, buddy. Thank you for all that you do. Okay, so we've got a little track maintenance happening. And we'll wait for our officials to confer.
Which gives me time to talk about Bender Hatch Insurance. Bender Hatch Insurance is a 100-plus year family-owned insurance agency in downtown Boston. Serving the greater Boston community, they know insurance isn't a one-size-fits-all and strive to meet the individual needs of their customers with dedicated one-on-one support. Contact Bender Hatch for your home, auto, renter, life, and business insurance needs. Bender Hatch Insurance.
We'd also like to thank Bruce Boutique. If you are watching this roller derby game and thinking, I want to do that, well, Bruce Boutique in Nashua, New Hampshire is ready to provide you with everything you need to get started. They can outfit you from head to toe with their discount starter packages and answer all your questions about how to get into roller derby. Bruce Boutique, the best roller skate store in the world. It really is. They're just over the border in tax-free Nashua, New Hampshire. But if you are not close to Bruce Boutique, visit them online, bruceboutique.com. And even if derby isn't necessarily your thing and you just love to roller skate, they have a vast array of roller skating accoutrements to feed whatever your skating habit may be. But yes, we are getting back to derby. We were patiently awaiting things to get back together, and it appears our skaters are getting in place. And the crowd is swooning all throughout the venue. The different tones of it are great, right?
Isn't it?
It's kind of melodic. If you cannot hear that, for the folks at home, we are, if nothing else, but amused. Oh, hey, we got Lammy. Looks like Lammy's wearing a cape, but that is not the case. I think Lammy's just a little chilly.
Trying to keep warm.
Yes, this venue, so if you are unfamiliar with hockey rinks when the ice is out, it's still a little chilly in here at this time of year in New England. But more importantly, things are moving on the track. Falcon Punch wearing the star for Montreal and Swoon wearing the star for Boston. Although that star very quickly got handed off to Wednesday Adams, who is out of the pack in scoring position. We'll see what Falcon Punch does. Yes, Falcon Punch gets through with 4 points, calls it off. So that means 155 is now the score for the new skids on the block. Boston Derby A-Team, 100.
I don't know if you saw that, but Falcon Punch almost took out Bigly Smalls.
Yes, that happens, but I didn't want to blow up anyone's spot.
That was a big hit, too. I didn't know
remember,
Bigly Smalls could take a hit like that.
It's legal to hit your own people. Okay.
Legality and morality, two different things. Anyways, we got DVS Arm Assist out on the line for Boston, facing off against Motley Crude, and is Motley Crude with lead jammer status.
Yes, and so Crude is there, but right now Hills at the front of the pack fighting it against a tripod of Montreal blockers. So turn one, really the place where the brakes went on for both jammers. Slowly but surely, we've got a little bit of a slow grind going for Hills, and we had a sneaky little star pass to Felix Block, who's now in scoring position. But the jam is called. No points for Boston on this one. But let's see if we have any from Montreal. Yes, a quick 4. So they sit at 159 to Boston's 100. So this is probably, 3-4 jams now? I apologize because we do not have a producer running stats for us, so you get a guesstimate for me on this. It was 3 or 4 jams that Boston has remained scoreless since they hit 100.
Lammy Adder and MX Merrick out for their respective teams. MX Merrick working at the front of the pack. Jumped over Wreck, but landed outside. Quick recycle back. Wednesday Adam and Sparky, the last 2 to beat, and does so. Not sure how. However, through and picks up lead jammer status for the Skids. Lammy is being held up at the jammer line by KT Kaboom. Looks like Katie Kaboom, Mange Quoi, and 03 Cam Grayson.
Oh, we have a direction of gameplay penalty assessed to 1017, none other than Bigley Smalls. Lammy is through, now in scoring position. Meanwhile, Sparky doing the run back on MX Merrick, who was emphatically attempting to call it off. Seemed to be a little bit of a delay, but that's just my perception. There is no critique attached. 8 points on that jam for the new Skids. They sit at 167. Boston remains at 100.
And even emphatically and possibly a little slow on the call, Boston didn't get any points, so nothing to complain about there.
Right. There wasn't any advantage / disadvantage.
No advantage either way.
Boston. Yeah.
Vertigo Fast out there once again for Boston, going to be facing off against, looks like Diversity Higher, getting pushed back by MC Slammer. And a push to the inside there means a cut track on Diversity Higher, so it is a power jam opportunity for Vertigo Fast and Boston. Vertigo Fast getting some offensive help there by number 120 Electrocute. MC Slammer now coming up, as is, it looks like Agenda, trying to force a lane open. Montreal defense now one blocker right up front to beat. Outstanding rotation and bridging going on. Vertigo Fast has 2 blockers right up front. High block being issued to 1, still has 1 to beat. That is Bigley Smalls, number 1017. Finally having to release. Is Vertigo Fast, lead jammer.
But that was some beautiful solo blocking, though, from Bigley Smalls, and effectively burning down
Very
that
much
clock
so.
on Vert. Yeah.
And not only, I actually thought that was the first scoring pass, that was the initial. That's
Yeah.
a lot of work
Oof.
on the initial pass.
It happens.
It does. As we see.
Yes. So we do have Diversity Higher through. And the pack is now in turn 3, where everything is happening. Diversity Higher having to really use some power on a hit there against number 2, the pivot for Boston. That is MC Slammer. Okay. Boston broke their scoreless streak for a bit. So they now sit at 103 after picking up 3 points. New Skids pick up 4. So they're 171 to Boston's 103.
We see Monsoon coming back up the track for Boston. facing off against 66 Falcon Punch. Entire defensive contingent backing up to the jammer line to meet them. Falcon Punch now working at the front of the pack. Wednesday Addams and Sparky. Oh, have to release. Lead jammer status once again going to the skids. Swoon with a quick star pass and body pile up right at the pivot line.
That was a result of the star pass to Wednesday Addams. I mean, at least Montreal can say they effectively slowed down and stopped Addams in that moment, despite the form that it took.
Yeah, it was a little bit dirty on it, but it happens.
Yeah. Oh.
Wednesday now pushing against a tripod of white.
It is a power jam in favor of Boston.
And this will go the full 2 minutes. Monsoon giving a good shoulder there, trying to get Wednesday up to the front. Katie Gaboon was the last one out there. Held up Adams just long enough for everybody else to rejoin.
Adams opting to block right now, along with Sparky, as Falcon Punch returned to the track.
I do believe Wednesday still has the cover?
Yeah.
Okay.
Adams still has the star in hand.
Oh, yep, there it is.
But given the fact that Montreal was blocking Adams so successfully, and then the return of Falcon Punch to the track, it was the smart choice in the moment. Sometimes
you need the blocker.
You got to look at it. You're going to keep getting beat up and not get through, or are you going to effectively block? And right there with that run back, proof that the right choice was made.
And like you said, it was the first time that Montreal has successfully stopped Wednesday from breaking free as soon as they get the star.
Right.
So in that case, if you're not out and you're not in scoring position, sometimes it's better just to make sure the differential doesn't change.
Correct. So right now we've got Mayer with the star for Boston, able to secure lead early, up against Diversity Hire for Montreal, who is still working through the pack, which is in the middle of the front stretch. Mayer is through with 4. Right now we are seeing, the attempt at taking a whip there for Diversity Hire off of one of Montreal's blockers. And seeing Slammer ping Diversity Hire to the infield and able to catch as Diversity Hire comes back. Front of the pack, which is moving into turn 2. Still holding Diversity Hire. Team is slow. We're not far behind. We've got Mayer fighting against the Montreal defense. We have some recycling happening from Felix, Block, Slammer, and Agenda up against, I apologize, that is not Diversity Hire, that is Motley Crude. I misspoke. I'm so sorry. So Crude has been working up against the Boston defense. Still being held in that midway between turns 1 and 2. Mayer is at the front of the pack fighting the full Montreal defense, right at the edge of the back stretch. Now, seeing Crude push through a bit more, and now working at the front of the pack against Boston's defense. Back of the pack, which is immediately behind. Everything's gotten nice and close. Everyone's making it a little weird.
Very
Sometimes
rugby
that's necessary,
scrum
right? Yeah. So right now, quick recycle against Mayer. So the pack's positions have shifted a bit, where Boston's defense in the front, Montreal's in the back. Top of the back stretch, that is where Mayer is fighting to get through on an additional scoring pass. We have Crude in scoring position, but the jam has been called. A total of 8-0 in favor of Boston. They sit at 111. The new skids at 179.
That was a very well fought jam. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I know I am an incoming dad joke here, but it's like they say, roller derby's a lot like camping. It's intense. You know, sorry. I'm here all weekend, folks. Sorry.
As should you.
I had to
You don't want to miss a single one of these jokes.
These games are going to be great. Seriously. I mean, this game is great.
Games,
and the future games, amazing.
You can miss the jokes. Don't miss the games.
Yeah, exactly. If you have to, mute me. But please don't, because I hope that I can bring you some great insight aside from that. Okay, we have, it appears, an official review. Official review called by Boston, I believe. Nope, called by Montreal.
Danger Law LLC offers inspired legal planning for the unexpected, covering polyamory law, estate planning, prenuptial, and co-ownership agreements, second parent adoptions, name changes, and trustee and fiduciary services. We proudly support, advocate, and represent the LGBTQIA+ community at Danger Law.
And you can visit their website, dangerlaw.com. We'd also like to thank Bender Hatch Insurance. Their agency has been around for over 100 years. They're family owned, and their insurance agency is located in downtown Boston. Serving the greater Boston community, they know insurance isn't one size fits all and strive to meet the individual needs of their customers with dedicated one-on-one support. Contact Bender Hatch for your home, auto, renters, life, and business insurance needs. You don't think about that kind of thing until you actually need it. I say this because I'm an insurance professional. I do not work for that agency, just to be clear. But people don't think about things until a crisis happens. That's why you have folks like Bender Hatch. So definitely check them out. I'll get you their website as well. But we'll have hopefully an update on this official review shortly.
Looks like the review is coming to the end. We're just about to get back to the action. We'll try to get information regarding the review to you here shortly. We have DVS Harness coming up to the line for Boston, facing off against MX Merrick, number 103 for the Skids. DVS Harness hits right up off the line now in the middle of the scrum. But it is MX Merrick finding the inside lane open, picks up lead jammer status for Montreal. Hills has taken the helmet cover off and is working against the front of the pack, trying to break through. Merrick also at the front of the pack, working against, looks like Sparky. Able to break through. That was the first scoring pass for the Skids. 4 points up on the board. Hills through on their initial and right behind Merrick as the pack picks up a ton of speed. MX Merrick deciding to call that off. Decides the run is not worth the points. So it looks like we have a 4-0 jam in favor of the Skids. 183 to 111 with 5 minutes left in the game.
Okay, setting on up. We have a full complement of blockers on the track, as well as jammers. We have Monsoon wearing the star for Boston. And I do believe that is diversity hire this time. Keep mixing up diversity hire and crude. But in this case, we have diversity hire wearing the star for Montreal. pack moving between turns 1 and 2 right now. Front of the pack, we have Swoon fighting the defense from Montreal. And Swoon is through. Oh no. Picked up a cut track penalty. So right now, lead was open. Lead is Diversity Higher. And Diversity Higher has a power jam. So yeah, a warranted smile there coming around the track. Okay, in the back stretch, the pack is about halfway through. Diversity Higher working up against Boston's defense. We do see some O coming into play, helping Diversity Higher out. But Boston quickly reforming, doing what they can to prevent any assistance. So right now, Slammer and Volt at the front of the pack, seeing Boston's line start stringing out because of bridging. Well, the need to bridge, but 4 points for Diversity Higher. Though Boston did manage to burn the clock down a bit on Diversity Higher. But not this time around. An additional 4. Swoon does not pick up any points. So it was an 8-0 jam in favor of Montreal. 191 for the Skids, 111 for Boston. I did hear the whistles for a timeout of some sort, so we're going to see what's going on. An official timeout.
We'll make sure we dot the T's and cross the I's.
Always important because these are sanctioned games and they count towards rankings. So we know everyone's very much looking forward to playoffs that are steadfastly approaching at the end of May for the the North American Regional Playoffs Northeast. If I apologize if I butchered the official name, but I do know that's coming up at the end of May in Michigan. I believe Lansing is hosting, and Boston is going to be there. So
my mom went to college in Lansing.
Wow, that is a fun fact.
Yeah, small world.
The question is, have you asked your mom if roller derby was around when she was there in college? Maybe not. Although I'd like to credit your mom with being young enough, but
I believe it was, but I don't think she ever actually went.
That's cool. Shout out to Q's mom. I love that.
Mom.
All right, we're getting back to it.
Vertigo fast out for the Skids, facing off against number 66, Falcon Punch. Falcon Punch working at the front of the pack against Adams and Agenda, able to push his shoulder straight through the center of him. Lead jammer status once again going to the Skids, quickly coming around and engaging with the pack at the front straightaway. Inside lane had Sparky there, however, Falcon Punch, another shoulder down, and able to get through. Vertigo Fast now working at the front of the pack, has one blocker to beat. That looks like Bigley Smalls. As Vertigo Fast takes the helmet cover off, sneaks on by. But Falcon Punch deciding to call that off before they can engage on their scoring pass. So another 8 points for the Skids, 199 to 111 with, looks like, a minute and a half left in the game. And a timeout being called by Boston. That'll put a stop to the clock at 1:46.
Just enough for one more jam, maybe two.
Maybe two. Fingers crossed.
Well, you know, we're not going to say. Erring on the side of caution.
We could, but no matter what we say at this point, we're announcers. We'd be wrong. They would make sure the announcer curse is not broken.
At least we accept it. Okay, so I'm just taking a quick look, see what I can retrieve here on Flat Track Stats, because I think, you know, some of the outcomes of these games, folks are going to be very interested. Let's see.
And when we come back, it looks like Sparky is currently in the penalty box, as are two Montreal blockers. So a 3-2 pack advantage for Boston. Mare out there going to be facing off, looks like Diversity Higher. Yes, it is. Mare and Diversity Higher. Jammers on record. Mare able to find that inside lane open. Quickly picking up lead jammer status. Something we see a lot during the home games is Mare in the lead jammer position. We haven't seen it much tonight. But doing an outstanding job there, now working at the front of the pack, and 4 points going to be put up on the board. Quickly calling that off, leaving the Skids scoreless on that jam. 115, 199 now. It's like a minute 15. Again, enough for one, maybe two more jams.
Okay, we have our skaters setting on up for the next jam. For Montreal, we have number 48. That's Mercury, jamming up against Pills, aka DVS Harmesis for Boston. Right now, Mercury working against Boston Tripod, pushing at the front of the pack, getting some assistance from Bigley Smalls. Pills still fighting it out, while Mercury on a scoring pass with lead. Picking up 4 points, going around the outside, had a nice clear path. Pills is now out. We have Mercury on a second scoring pass. Mercury calls it before Pills can pick up any points.
And it looks like a timeout was called by Montreal with 9 seconds left, so we will have one more jam. Montreal bringing up MX Merrick. Boston bringing up Monsoon. And this will be the last jam of this game. Again, New Skids 204, Boston at 115. It's actually been a lot closer a game than the scoreboard is showing. For those of you new to Derby, that's not abnormal, to be perfectly honest. Two very well-matched teams can have two very different scores.
Yes. Okay, for some reason I can't get Fun Track Stats to load, but that's okay. I'll take a look at that later.
Last jam of this game has started. Monsoon trying to work on the outside. MX Merrick on the inside. Outstanding track awareness by Monsoon, able to keep the skates inbounds. Lead jammer status going to Boston. MX Merrick working at the back of the pack. Tries to get a hip on Monsoon, but just miss.
The pack really hasn't moved very much since start of jam. It's stayed within that space of the jammer line and pivot line, is just getting past it now.
Electrocute doing an outstanding job in that butt position, making sure that MX Merrick is unable to move forward.
Swoon, before getting a track up penalty call, was able to catch it, exit the track, and cycle back. So right now, working on an additional scoring trip, getting some O from MC Slammer. Currently, Swoon working at the front of the pack, though does get cycled back. We'll see if Volt allows Montreal's defense to get past. A few of them are able to, and now Swoon calls it off to prevent any points from MX Merrick. Wow.
That was a game.
Yeah, that was one heck of a game.
That was
4
definitely
points.
a great way to start RollChambeau.
Yes. So 4 points, taking Boston to 119. Skids at 204. We're just waiting for that rolling whistle at the end to make it official. But that was great. We're going to have our juniors exhibition from Northeast Uprising Junior Roller Derby coming up after this. I will be taking a bit of a break, so you can enjoy that without any commentary, and then I'll return for Montreal's return to the track against Gotham for 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that is the official final. Montreal's new skids on the block, 204. Boston Roller Derby A-Team, 119. Game 1 is on the books, Q.
What an outstanding way to start that game,
Yes.
this tournament.
And thank you for joining me on the mic, and I'm glad that you'll be back to join me tomorrow.
I will. Banshee,
Yes.
it's always enjoyable. Thank you.
All right. And friends, we will see you soon. We'll be back with commentary for 7 p.m. for the Montreal Gotham game. And we hope you enjoy here on Boston Roller Derby's Twitch. Take care. See you soon.